level best. Those opposite talk about labour costs and flexibility. What other workforce in this country during the GFC, during the global financial crisis, worked 1 week with pay and 1 week without? What other workforce? Only at Holden's, only at GMH. And when they were asked to give up hard-won entitlements, when they were asked to do that to secure production, when they were asked for $15 million in costs, what did the workforce do? They voted to agree with the company, setting up the framework for future investment. What they needed to remain in Australia was government assistance, the same government assistance that car workers get in Germany and in Japan and in the US and in Korea and in any other country that supports its car workers. But in Australia, they found a government that was indifferent to the economic circumstances of the world and indifferent to jobs in this country. Let's make no mistake. This was all about the division in the government. This was all about the heart and soul of this government. And what we find is that a callous, flint-hearted treasurer has won the day. And if there is unemployment in this country, and if there is a tragic human cost to this decision in this country, it will be on the Treasurer, it will be on the member for Hindmarsh, it will be on Senator Edwards and all of the other Liberals who sat quiet while for 2 months, sat quiet for 2 months, lulling the whole place into silence. And then at the 5 minutes to midnight, they leap on this iconic national brand. And for 50 years, governments have been supporting car manufacturing in this country. 50-odd years. And that's why yesterday we had the Minister Hoggett from the Victorian government say, "My message is to my federal colleague, is that any speculation on the future of Holden is not helpful. It's disappointing." And what response do they get? A Treasurer, an acting Prime Minister, goading this company to make a decision before Christmas of all times, goading them. We had the acting Prime Minister send a letter. I mean, who sends letters any day? Couldn't pick up the phone? Couldn't pick up the phone? Couldn't go down and have a meeting? I mean, what we had is federal industry policy descend to a one-page excuse. That was what federal industry policy became, a one-page excuse. Now, there are workers in my electorate, and I was with them last week. Murray Akehurst in the Advertiser on the 2nd of the 12th, talking about how he wanted to fight for his jobs. Been there 16 years. He's 50 years old. Where is he going to get a job? And Damien Griffiths of Andrews Farm, a father of two children, he's got a mortgage. Where will he get a job? Well, I tell you, the human cost will still be there in 2017. Make no mistake, it will be there in no uncertain terms. And all that this government has given, the workers of Holden's, the certainty they've given them is a certainty of unemployment. That's what they've given him. What we have is a Treasurer who's forsaken his namesake. Make no doubt about it. And he won't have the courage. To go down there in Elizabeth and watch the last car roll off the line. He won't have the courage to go down there and face those workers. None of you had. And when component workers came up to this House, where did they get a meeting? They got a meeting with the Industry Minister, who's a good man, who's trying his best, I'm sure. But they couldn't get a meeting. They couldn't get a meeting with the Treasurer. So you can be sure what we have is a government that is completely indifferent to these workers. But the other headline, and I know we're not allowed to hold up headlines, but we should remember this headline, the other headline today, PM's Panzers.
The member is defying the chair. He will remove himself
Well, I'll
at
take
once.
the day, Hank. I'll take the day. You name me. I'll take the day's pay in solidarity with the workers at Holden.
The member,
you name me.
The member will not defy the chair. He will remove himself forthwith under 94A. Remove yourself.